about 3 minutes. All right, so here we are, Team No Judgment Weekly Call for August 29th. Tonight, we are going to talk about your why. And, you know, we talk about this a lot. You hear a lot about your why, not just for Beachbody, but like with any kind of, you know, endeavor that you undertake. Your why is sort of your thing that keeps you going, right? That gives you your motivation and stuff like that. But the mistake I think that a lot of people make with their why is they don't really go deep enough with it. And so then, you know, when you start in the business and you're like so pumped up to go out and change the world and stuff like that, and you're like, I'm going to help people and I'm going to make money and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then when you hit a bump, it's like your why, the why that you've attached to it is not necessarily superficial. I don't want to say superficial because that's got a negative connotation, but it's just not deep enough that it makes you still get up every morning and say, you know, it doesn't matter because I'm still going to do this because it's important to me. So, I guess I've never really thought about this, but we as humans, we are the only species that has gone past the survival mode. Right? When you think about all other animals, mammals, whatever on Earth, what are they all trying to do? They're just trying to survive, right? We have the luxury of humans to not only survive, but to thrive and do things that bring us joy and bring us happiness and relax us. And we don't have to just always run around worrying how we're going to eat, you know, as like animals, it's all about getting ready for the winter and just surviving on a daily basis. But we have, you know, the element of fun in our lives. We get to choose what we do. So knowing your why is like a really important first step into sort of figuring out how to achieve the goals that do excite you and help you to live a really fulfilled life and have fun and relax you and that sort of thing versus just merely surviving, just, you know, living for the sake of living. So knowing your why is also going to help you stay committed to those dreams and goals and aspirations. And it's going to help others get on board. And, you know, it's like when we start a business like this, the freedom aspect, it's so invigorating, right? To think of all the things that we could possibly do. Oh, is it frozen? Shoot. What's the last thing that you heard me say?
I can hear you fine, but you're frozen,
Oh,
and
just
now
the
you're
video.
now you're black. Oh, there. No, you're frozen.
What in the world? Okay, well, I guess as long as you can still hear me, YouTube can just deal with my weird frozen face. Am I making a dumb face in the frozen?
Well, now it's better. You were making a silly face, but now it just looks like you're half asleep, so we'll go with that.
Good times. All right. Well, whatever. As long as you can hear me, it's the words that matter, not my face. Okay, so yeah, so when you start a business, it's like, you know, you've got these ideas of like freedom and you know, financial freedom, time freedom, that sort of thing, and it's invigorating. But then also there's like this stress that comes that there's no one else that you can blame if there's a failure. So that's another reason that your why becomes imperative, because, you know, if you're like me and you have just left the security of a corporate job to make this happen, I had to make sure that my why was very firmly in place, because, you know, the second that somebody told me no, or, you know, I had like 10 rejections in a row, it was like sink or swim. And like, I can't just be focusing all my energy on freaking out that it's not happening. I had to have my why firmly in front of me. And that's something that, you know, another reason that your why is just so important, to really dig deep and figure it out. So if you're not, you know, 100% impassioned about what you're doing, enough to, you know, like nurture your business through growing pains and that sort of thing, because businesses, like, rare, you know, show me a business where somebody has made like $1 million overnight and I'll find $1 million to give you. Like, that doesn't happen. It's a building thing. So you've got to have reason above and beyond, just money, that's going to help you see it through. And your why is going to give you the courage that you need to take the risks that you have to take to get ahead. It's going to help you stay motivated, when you're down and it doesn't seem like anything's going right. It's going to help you move your life onto this entirely new, and sometimes more challenging, but incredibly rewarding trajectory. So how do we develop our why? I'm going to give you guys tonight 4 questions to help you develop your why, and then 3 questions that'll help you connect to it so that you can kind of put all the pieces together. So, okay, question number 1, ask yourself, what makes you come alive? So you don't have to, like, at this point, say that you're going to invent the next iPad or solve the world's cancer issue or anything like that. Like, it doesn't have to be something gigantic. You connect to a cause that's bigger than you are, but it's also congruent with the person that you are. So what makes you come alive? Like, when you think about, like, the thing that makes you happy and the thing that makes you feel fulfilled and, like, what the most perfect day ever would be, that is the stuff that makes you come alive. The stuff that when you do it, you're like, yes, that was so awesome. That was so fun and so bad. Breaking up pretty bad. Good Lord, what is the deal with Zoom? This has happened on every Zoom call, not only team call, but I had a couple Zooms with clients this week. Can you hear me better now? Jeez. Okay. Hang on just a sec. Here we go. Sorry for that little pause there. I was saying, like,
make sure you hit record again.
Did I hit record? Yeah, I hit record. Yeah, every Zoom call I've had this week with, like, potential clients and everything else has been horrible, and it doesn't matter what device I'm on, so I'm thinking it must be Zoom and not. But who knows? Who knows? Anyway, okay, so yeah, so what makes you come alive? What are the things that, like, because you can have skills that you're good at, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're like, yeah, I love to do that, So this is more about figuring out not only things, that you don't even necessarily have to be good at it, but just something that brings you immense joy and fulfillment. And it can be small things and it can be big things, those are all going to sort of give you an idea of who you are and what makes you tick. And then later on, we'll discuss how that is going to, help bring you into the why for your business. Question number 2, what are your innate strengths? So these are the things that you've, like, always been good at, that you maybe sometimes are like, why do other people find this so hard? Like, for example, I'm really good with, like, time organization. And I'm like, how can you not look at a planner and figure out what your day's like, So for me, it just comes naturally. I can just look at, a schedule for a week and be like, okay, this is when I'm going to do this and this is when I'm going to do this. But that's helpful in my business because I market to busy professionals, because that's what I was for a long time. I was working a corporate job and I had to figure out the time to make it work. And that's something that people struggle with. So your innate strengths, the things that you're good at and that you can't really understand why other people don't find it so easy, that's something that you can use, to help you fulfill your purpose and your why with your business. Like, I'm here to help. I'm here to help people, not just get in better health and fitness routines, but to figure out how to make their lives more organized. That's my thing. And that just comes from figuring out what my strengths are. So once you figure out your innate strengths, then you get into, how you hear somebody say they're in their element. That is exactly, your element is the point at which your natural talent and your acquired skills meet your personal passion. So when people are in their element, they're not only more productive, but they actually add more value and have more fulfillment, because it's all the good things. It's the things that they're good at. It's the things that they've learned how to be good at, and the things that they care about, all intersecting at this awesome place, right? So sometimes, though, innate strengths are not necessarily something that we recognize, right? So how do we figure that out if we don't really know what they are? You can pull some of your closest family and friends, people that you trust to give you an honest answer, not just like people that you're around all the time, but people that you know are going to be straight up with you and be like, oh, you're good at this, but you kind of suck at this. You can bounce ideas off them, or just ask them straight up, what do you think I'm good at? What would you say my strengths are? So that's going to serve a twofold purpose. Number one, it's going to be a huge confidence booster to hear from people that they think you're good at something and hear how wonderful they think you are. And then also, they're going to maybe tell you some stuff that you didn't even realize or that hadn't even crossed your mind, which you can then translate into addressing pain points for your audience. Does that make sense? So if you're good with time management, that's something that people, our society's super busy right now. So if somebody's like, oh, you're really good at figuring out how to fit all your stuff in, even with a super busy schedule. And I just, you hear all the time, I just don't have the time to work out. Can show people, sure you do. We all have the same 24 hours, and I can show you how, because I'm busy and I have XYZ going on in my life, but I still make it work, and let me show you how. So, okay, question number 3. Where do you add the greatest value? So, we're talking about our innate strengths here, our innate strengths that we've just always been good at, and the things that sort of, bring us joy and fulfillment. And so knowing all of that, and, when you apply your education, your skills, your knowledge, and your experience to something that you're super passionate about, it'll help you focus on opportunities to succeed in this business, because you're going to be aligning your purpose with all of the things that you're good at. And that's one of the most beautiful things about this business, is you make it about you. You can, they give you guidelines, but it's your jam. The number 3, repeat the 3 question. Oh, where do you add the greatest value? So when when you're figuring out, okay, here's the combination of all my things, all the things I like, all the things I'm good at, all the things I've learned, all the experiences that I've had, and put it all together, and you get this amazing sense of accomplishment and contribution, because you are using all of your skills and your gifts and the things that you've learned and the things that you like to fulfill a greater purpose. And another way to kind of figure this out, if you're kind of stuck on that, well, where could I add the greatest value? Ask yourself, kind of look at your conversations that you have with people around you, and make a list of things that people ask you for help with. Not necessarily just in health and fitness, but just in general in life. What is something that people come to you with that, I'm always asking you, Stacy, to help me figure out how to do stuff with colorful makeup, because as you can see, my face always looks the same. I have no creativity that way, but you do. And so that's something you can connect with your audience, girls that love, to play around with makeup. That's a thing. So that's one of your things, because you're really good with colorful makeup and making yourself look gorgeous with all, and I would look like a freaking painted clown. Much as I would love to be able to be good at that sort of thing, I literally I have done my makeup the same since I was in high school, because I don't know how to do anything else. So that's a thing, adding, value. And that's a way you can add value to your audience. You could do a little, hey, here's a great smoky eye tutorial, or here's a great tip for making your lipstick last longer, or whatever. as we add value to people, and it doesn't have to be just fitness related. It just has to be within the realm of things that we care about and that we're passionate about. As you add that value, you know, people are going to be like, wow, that's so great of Stacy. She's always giving and giving. That's so wonderful. And they'll naturally seek you out for all sorts of other things because they see that you're there to help. So yes, figure out where you add the greatest value. And then question number 4, let me know when you're ready. I see that you're still writing. Are you good? Okay. Question number 4, what is your purpose? So that's a hard one. That's something that, you know, some people in life, it seems like they're just born knowing what they were put here for. And then some of us, it takes until we're like, you know, in our 30s to figure it out. It happens. I didn't know what my purpose was for a long time. I thought my purpose was to be a legal assistant, which was wrong. You know, it was one of those classic things where it's like I was good at it, but I didn't particularly love it. But transferable skills, you know, there were skills like organization and helping people and that sort of thing that were transferable to this. And it was like, it was right there in front of me the whole time, but it just takes a little while. So there's a self-help author named Steve Pavlina. I've never heard of him before I started doing research for this call, but he's got this exercise that you can do to help figure out your purpose. And he says to just get a piece of paper and write at the top, what's my purpose in life? And you just free think, just write down whatever comes into your mind. Don't overthink it. Don't, you know, try to make it something too big and flowery. Just whatever pops into your head, write it down, and then write down another one and write down another one. And you keep writing answers until you find one that like makes you cry, like punches you in the gut, just gets you right in the feels. Like, yes, that is my purpose. And that's a really kind of woo-woo thing. And I know that we tend to shy away from woo-woo stuff, but the more that I do that kind of thing, the more that I'm convinced that it works. Because your why really needs to be something that gets you right in the emotion, because that's what's going to keep you coming back. You know, that's what's going to make it like, when I have days where I had, you know, when I was coming up with this last challenge group, for example, I had a notebook just like this, and I had names written on it on both sides. I had 2 columns of names. So like 40 different people, right? And they were all people that were follow-ups from the month before. And they had said, you know, no, I'm not interested right now. So I'm like, all right, great. 40 more follow-ups for the next month. So I went back to them. So many of them said no. All in one day, I messaged like all 40 of them, and more than half said no. And it was really, really deflating, right? Because you just keep hearing no over and over again, and you're like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? You know, why doesn't anyone want to work with me? Why doesn't anybody, you know, like, do I suck at this? Like, whatever. And that's a personal development thing. The more that you do it, the easier and the more comfortable you'll be with hearing no, because you'll realize that it's just a word and it doesn't mean no forever. But when you hear it over and over and over again, and depending on what's going on in your life, you know, it can be really frustrating and really defeating. So if I didn't firmly have my why in front of me, and I'm learning this more and more as I am now, like full-time into coaching and, you know, don't have anything else to fall back on, you have to have something that makes all those shitty days worth it. Because there are going to be some really, really tough days. There are going to be days where, you know, you finally start building a team and they, you know, all your coaches quit or something like that. Or there are going to be times where, you know, you sign up a customer and 2 more cancel. And there's just days where stuff happens and you're like, dear God, what the heck? But I know that that is only one day, and the why that I have keeps me, and it's not just a monetary why. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna have a vacation house in Palermo and I'm gonna buy John a car and stuff like that. Those are all great things, but finding your why is like peeling off layers of an onion, right? So you're like, I don't ever want to go back to that law firm job, right? Because my coworkers were bitches. They were horrible, awful people. And coworkers can be, but mine were of a special variety that like were really, really, really bad. And so, okay, I don't want to ever have to go back to that job. And people say, well, why wouldn't you just get a job somewhere else? Because it's going to be the same thing. And I don't want to do that. Well, why don't I want to do that? Because, and it took me a while to realize this, but it goes all the way back to when I was a kid. And you'll find that a lot of your things that are holding you back, a lot of the things that that personal development speaks to you over, are because of stuff that happened when you were really little, or stuff that happened when you were in your formative years. So you guys have heard me talk about, like when I was in middle school and all my friends decided they didn't like me anymore. And so I essentially went from having a whole bunch of childhood friends to nobody liking me. Like, people used to stuff notes in my locker that said mean things and talked about why I should kill myself and that I was a fat skank and all this other stuff. And so when I would have to go into the office and be with these horrible women who would talk about me all day long and say mean things and demean me and make fun of me and say horrible things like, that bitch deserves to cry because she's so happy all the time and no one's ever that happy, or making fun of me like the day that I was bawling my eyes out because my sister found out she was pregnant. Who does that, right? But stuff like that takes me right back to middle school, to where I felt rejected and where I felt sad and alone and just that sort of thing. So my why is to not ever have to do that again. I will always have a choice on who I'm working with. And that's what's beautiful about this business is if somebody's a complete biatch and a horrible person, I don't have to deal with them ever. And that's my why. And it looks like, oh, well, I've got freedom for my law firm job and this and that. And that's all part of it. But it goes a lot deeper. It goes way into those little places in your heart that you try to bury down deep and not ever have to go to, And that's what's beautiful about this business too, is that it allows you to dig out those little pieces of shrapnel and start healing. Finally, they've been in there forever. Did you watch last night? Did you see Pink's acceptance speech for the award that she got?
Yeah. Sorry, you were breaking up pretty bad. I think you asked if I saw Pink's speech to her daughter.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, it was really, yeah.
Yeah, and really so good. She talks about, like, taking gravel, like the gravel in the shell, and, like, not letting you turn it into a pearl, basically, like an oyster, right? Did you hear that part? So that was one thing that she said, like, we take the gravel in the shell and we make like an oyster and like make a pearl out of it. So that thing that's been your piece of gravel this whole time, that's your why. The things in your heart that are like the pieces of gravel that are just grating on you and making you hurt and that sort of thing. This business, figuring out what those things are and then connecting them to how this business helps you overcome them, makes that into a pearl. This business allows you to make pearls out of your gravel. It allows you to pull that shrapnel out that's been hurting you for years and years and years. But you just have to figure out what those things are, and you have to be honest with yourself. It takes a lot of self-reflection. It takes a lot of digging deep. It takes a lot of personal development, and it's uncomfortable. It is, to figure it out. But once you figure it out, then, man, the connect, and it's like the passion is just there, right? I love helping people. I love helping people overcome obstacles and that sort of thing. It's wonderful. But I love that I know I can ensure without a doubt that anybody that ever works with me, anybody that ever comes into my realm, number one, is not going to be an asshole, because I've had enough of that in my life. So I have the power of that choice. But number two, they're not ever going to feel that way. They're not ever going to feel like they're not loved and empowered and accepted for exactly who they are. That this business gives me that power, and that is my why. That's how I change the world. So you have to figure that out. You have to dig deep within yourself and think, what are the things that are holding me back? What are the things that I'm afraid of? What are the things that have caused me pain? And how can I use this business to help remedy those? Right? It's so much more than health and fitness. We get the physical transformation, which is nice because it's tangible. And any other kind of endeavor takes a really long time to see the results. But with health and fitness, you start to see changes right away. But it's the inside stuff, that's what is powerful beyond all measure. It's just nice to have that physical thing too. But this business is so much more than muscles and sweat, if we let it be. So, given all that, how do we connect your why to the business? 3 questions for that. Number 1, what do you want to change, enhance, or accomplish for yourself and for the people around you? What do you want to change, enhance, or accomplish for yourself and the people around you? So you can definitely be a little selfish with this one. Like, think big. I want so badly. John has always driven these piece of crap old man cars. Like, give him a Buick Regal or one of those big ass Cadillacs that's like 19 feet long, and he's so happy, right? He loves that, and it's always been that way. But his dream car is a fully loaded Toyota 4Runner, maroon with tan leather seats. I don't know why that's the combination that he wants, but that's what he wants. So someday, I'm going to use this business to buy him that car. That's one of my things that helps connect my why, because he's the most important person in the entire world to me, and he does so much to support me, and I want to be able to give that to him. So that's a tangible thing. That's something that I can connect my why. What's going to make me wake up and keep doing this every day? Well, I don't want people to feel like crap. I don't want to work with assholes. And I really want to buy my husband a nice car for being such a good husband and supporting me. Right? So that's just one example. What do you want to, what do you want to do for yourself? It doesn't have to be just about other people around you. I mean, those are a big thing, but you can dream for yourself too, but don't make your dream so, if it's a big, overwhelming goal, like I want to have a vacation home in Palermo, but then thinking about that, I'm like, oh my God, what do you even have to do to buy land in a foreign country? And it's kind of overwhelming, but I can work toward that. I can say, okay, I'm going to make it my goal this month to save up enough money for us to have an Airbnb for a week if we go over there. And then the next month, I'm going to save up enough money. I'm going to earn enough money for our plane tickets for us to be able to take a trip. So see how it's breaking it down into small goals? And then when we go on that trip, we can look around at real estate, or we can research what it takes to buy real estate, or that sort of thing. So it's like taking this great big goal, breaking it down into smaller, more manageable pieces that then allow you to connect to your why and make it not so big and scary and seemingly unattainable. Does that make sense? Okay, good. All right. Question number 2 for connecting to your why. Who are the people in your life that could be affected by you having more flexibility and financial success, and what would you like to do for them? So, now we get more into, you've kind of dreamed big, and, what would you do differently? What would be, better if you had this? And now you take a look at all the people around you, because the people in your life, those end up being a big part of your why. I know, Stacey, you've talked before about how you and Jonah have never been on a vacation, and you'd love to do that, right? That's awesome. That's a really good reason. Like, you think about, gosh, you've been together all these years and you've never been able to just go away, just the two of you. Like, really allow yourself some time to just imagine that every day. Think about how nice that would be. What would your dream vacation look like? Or what would your dream long weekend getaway look like? Where would you like to go? What would you like to do while you're there? Would you like to try some new foods? That sort of thing. And because the more that you visualize it, the more excited you get about it. And then that helps you, and then thinking about like seeing his face, if you were to surprise him or something, like, hey, guess what? I booked us a weekend away at such and such place, and we're leaving on this day. How cool would it be to see his face if you surprised him with something like that, and you guys would actually get to go and do it, right? That kind of stuff is a motivator too, just as deeply as those little pieces of shrapnel or your little pearls that are waiting to come out. Other people and the people that you love and that you care about, and the opportunities that this business affords to do things for them are so motivating. And it's different for everyone. I mean, some people want college funds for their kids. Some people just want to be able to put their kids in dance lessons or whatever. I don't know about that life because I don't have any children, but but it's different. But the people, the people around you, you have to take care of number one first, but then once you take care of you, then you can take care of them so much. And the unlimited potential of this business is going to allow you to do things beyond your wildest dreams if you let it. But you have to believe in the potential. You have to visualize it. You have to see it. Let me hold on just a second. I'll show you something. So you hear people talk all the time about vision boards, right? And visualizing and how powerful they are, putting all the things. So I went on Canva and I made a vision board of all the things this is just my like future vision board. There's no date on it, but it's got John's dream car there, his maroon 4Runner with tan leather interior, because that's what he really wants. It's got our apartment in Palermo. This is the exact one that I want. It's the one that we stayed in when we were there, but I don't, we'll see. But it's got that. It's got, I want to travel the U.S. in an RV, like a vintage RV, and I want to get it, and I want to fix it all up and really cute on the inside, and I want to have a travel blog, and I want to have a food blog. So I've got all these things on here, and it's hanging in my office, and I look at it every day, and when I look at it, it reminds me why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because all of these things can be a reality for me if I just let them. We get so caught up in our heads like, oh, that's just not reality. But who says it's not? Who says that we can't do everything that we want to do and be everything that we want to be? We're the only ones that impose the limits on ourselves. So having this right here in front of me and being able to look at it and be reminded, daily, hourly, of the things that I want to do and the things that I want to accomplish and the things that I want to have is powerful. Because on the days that it sucks super bad and I've had 40 rejections in a row, I'm like, do I give up, or do I keep on? Do I let this one day go past, have this one bad day? Because not every day is a bad day ever in life with anything, not just with business. It doesn't rain forever. So am I going to allow one day to derail me from getting all of this? No freaking way. This is my dream life right here. This is all the stuff that I'm working for. So it's powerful. I have one for the team too. I actually have all these big team goals hanging up there too. So visualize, the people and the things that you want, and why you want them and why that would mean so much to you and how happy. I mean, I can't even imagine John's face if I actually pulled up in a 4Runner with a bow on it. That'd be awesome, right? That'd be the best. I don't know if that would trump taking him to Palermo for his 40th birthday, but it'd be right up there. So, you know, okay. So yeah, so definitely, you know, think about the people in your life and the things that you could possibly do for them and visualize that. Give yourself space and time to do that, to really think about it. Just let your imagination go without telling yourself, oh, but that'll never happen. Just really think about what it would be like. And then question number 3, changing lives means something different to everyone. What does it mean to you? And I'm just going to leave that open-ended. That doesn't need any kind of explanation. You just have to figure out for yourself what this business, what we do in this business, what it means to you. And that's that. And I want to end with a quote from an author named Harold Whitman. He says, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, then go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. So that's what I've got. Do you have any questions? Any input, thoughts? Anything? Nope. All right. Well, we've got, so you saw the Week of Hard Labor. Have you seen the advertisements for that? That's going to be really exciting. With all the stuff that's going on in Texas right now, I don't know if you saw Carl's post today, but for the first, is it 100,000 streams or 500,000 streams, something like that? Anyway, they're going to donate money for so many, up to like $100,000 just for streaming the workout next week. So that's 5 days of lifting with Sagi, the Body Beast, which is going to be a lot of fun, and probably you might poop your pants a little bit, but it's going to be great in a good way. So that'll be really a lot of fun, and that's a really good charitable thing. So that'll be available too with the free 2-week trial. So that's a really good thing to start kind of hyping with people, you know, to do a free trial or something like that. That'd be a good free group to come up with, you know. So just some thoughts to put out there. Okay, and I think that's probably pretty much it. So go ahead and stop recording.